Go Local Live, I'm Josh Fenton, CEO and co-founder, and it is seasonably warm, a little froggy, but it is definitely time. It is that day of the week, Wednesday, to head over to Mott Chace. We've got Ben Scungio. Ben, thanks so much for joining us.
Thanks, Josh. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. The wild, wild world of real estate is in focus for 2023. Let's jump right into it. We've got no inventory, high interest rates, median single family price in Rhode Island is $411,000, about a 100% increase in value in the last 7 years. Have you ever seen more mixed directions, arrows up, down, and all over?
I have not, but it's fun to see. I got into the business 13 years ago. So to go from that kind of market to this kind of market is certainly interesting. Right before I jumped on our call, I checked the numbers. 853 single-family homes are currently on the market statewide, and that ranges from a $17 million home in Newport to a very low-priced home in Gloucester.
What's the price on that Gloucester unit?
It was $25,000.
The phones are going to be ringing off the hook. People are going to want that shed up in Gloucester ASAP.
Yes, and something we've spoken about quite a bit is, properties that are easy entry into home ownership, like condominiums. Only 226 condos are on the market right now, statewide. I mean, that's insane.
So you've been doing this for 13 years. Have you ever seen this low an inventory level? And in contrast, what's a normal inventory level?
Sure. So, obviously 13 years ago, there was a ton of inventory on the market. You were looking at anywhere between, 12 to 15 months of inventory based on the municipality and the state, just because there was a lot of, at that time, there was a lot of bank foreclosure, short sales, etc.
So 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 houses on the market?
Yeah, at one point in time, yeah. It could have been anywhere between, 3,000 to 5,000 houses on the market, between multifamily, single families, and condominiums.
And we're talking single-family homes less than 900.
Yep.
What's that mean for the market? Talk about the dynamics of so little inventory. Certainly, January is not the most popular month for buying and selling, but still, record low inventory. What does that do to the dynamics of the market?
Sure. So right now we're hovering around 1.5 months of inventory, which is still far below what a balanced real estate market is. We should have 6 months of inventory, five to 6 months, plus or minus, is a balanced real estate market. It's not a mosh pit market from what we came from, and it's not a buyer's market from what it was 10 years ago. It's very balanced. So in order for this market to continue to normalize, inventory has to come up. But also the interest rates are pushing people away. So it's really interesting to see the dynamic on what's going on. I'm looking into 2023 where we are going to see an increased amount of units coming on the market, multifamily, single families, condos, all across the board. And hopefully the interest rates start to come down to make, these homes a little bit more affordable.
Yeah, Robert Rutley was on, I want to say last week or the week before,
Yeah.
And cited the data coming out of National Realtors Association, their chief economist, saying, listen, interest rates may get up to 7.5, maybe even a tad higher this spring, but then it has an expectation that it's going to push down to around 5.5 is that economist's prediction. Obviously, not written in stone, and we never know what Jerome Powell is going to do over at the Federal Reserve, so we'll wait and see. What does that dynamic do? And his argument, Robert Rutley's argument was, listen, if you want to buy now, yeah, it might cost you a little more on the interest rates, but there's not the bidding frenzy that we've had over the last 2.5 years. So you might get the house at a lower price, it all evens out. If you wait till the interest rates come down, you may be back into that more frenzied marketplace in which houses are getting 5, 10, or even more bids.
Sure, I'm never going to argue with Robert Rutley, so he is one of our resident experts for sure. But I have the same belief as Robert. If the house works for you and you're in a position where you can purchase and it's affordable now, and there's less competition, so you don't have to go 10, 20, 50. We were seeing offers $100,000 over asking and sometimes more than that. And if you can afford it and it's the home that works for you, then definitely pull the trigger. And there's other products out there from, adjustable rate mortgages, to rate buy downs, to just, riding it out for maybe a year to 3 years and then refinancing at a lower rate. I'm always recommending to my clients and to the agents in the office, if it works, you should definitely still try to purchase right now.
So let me ask you a quick question out of naiveness. If I bought a house in March at 7.5% interest rate and
Sure.
the rates drop down to 5.5, can I refinance that quickly just 8 months after I purchased?
You should be able to. I would certainly defer to the mortgage professional that people work with, but I don't see why you would not be able to.
Okay, so let's talk about where we think things are going in 2023. If you read Forbes or Bloomberg or Fortune, the real estate market is headed for upheaval with a major price correction. We've been at about 400 to 420,000 for the median price of a single family home. I want to say since June or July of 2022, straight through to present. So we're not seeing much dynamic. That's just sort of the monthly fluctuation, almost pretty much at about 410. Are we going to see a correction, or is the fact that we are de facto from a housing market standpoint so connected to the Boston market, which is so much higher price, that we're not going to see really any major decrease and in fact may see some increase in 2023?
I mean, everybody's been trying to predict this price correction, recession, what's going to happen with inflation. It seems like we just keep talking about these things and nothing necessarily happens. But I think there's a lot of factors that certainly influence our market. One of them certainly Boston. And something that I've spoken about quite a bit is I truly believe in 2020, Rhode Island was found. And not just found by people in Boston, but people all over the country. And so much that the state has to offer, and the diversity of the state, and how the cost of living is so much less than major municipalities like Boston, New York, parts of Connecticut, plenty of other places in the United States. So I don't see our prices plummet. I really don't. Could it happen in other parts of the country? Certainly. But I think we're going to, stay pretty strong with our median sales price.
And Ben, one of the issues that seems to keep our prices higher and adds to our problem of lack of inventory coupled with housing insecurity, homelessness, if you trickle it all the way down, is the lack of new housing units being constructed. I want to say last year it was like 1,000, 1,200, and it's been pretty much at that level between about 900 and 1,200 for the past few years. That is the lowest percentage per population of any state in the country. This is becoming, is it a crisis in how few new housing units we're able to buy?
I wouldn't necessarily call it a crisis, but I mean, Rhode Island's so densely populated, it's hard to put up, large scale properties for condominiums or new developments, especially in places where people want to live. I mean, people want to live, in Providence. They want to live in and around Providence. Granted, there's a lot of dirt up in the northern part of the state, and there's nothing wrong with the northern part of the state, but it just seems like people who are coming to Rhode Island typically want to be more in Providence County, East Bay, certainly the northern part of the state, but there's less demand up there, in my opinion. So in order for us to find or create large parcels of land, build larger scale condominium buildings, there is, I wouldn't call it a crisis, but it's certainly a problem.
Ben, last question. If you are a buyer right now and you really need to because your job brought you here, the number of children you have has increased, whatever it might be, what's your advice to those who are really in a situation where they need to buy a home?
Sure, crunch the numbers. Talk to your mortgage professional. Crunch the numbers. Make sure you have a budget. Make sure you know that it works. Like I just said earlier, you want to make sure that number works for you, and then you can start identifying properties. It's like I said, it's not a bad time to buy. If you have a high interest rate, there's ways to pay it down. There's ways to get out of it in a few years. But most importantly, crunch the numbers. Make sure the numbers work. That's the advice I can really give to anybody who absolutely needs to buy at this point in time.
Ben Scungio, Mott Chace, as always, greatly appreciate your insights. For everybody else, big game at the, I go old school, Providence Civic Center tonight. UConn comes in to play Providence College. UConn is ranked in the top 2 or 3, 4 schools in the country. I think they only have 1 loss. Coach Hurley and Coach Cooley have a little bit of friction in their history as coaching rivals when Hurley was down at the University of Rhode Island. So that's a big game. It's an 8:30 tip-off. It is national. And also, listen, people are wearing masks, people are getting COVID, and people are getting the flu. If you haven't gotten a shot, get a flu shot, get that last booster on COVID, stay healthy, and enjoy things like going to see a PC UConn game and not having to worry too badly about your health. Thanks, everybody. Stay tuned. We'll have much more on GoLocal throughout the day and into the evening. Thanks, everybody.